Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be looking at a bomb, a briefcase, a magic book, a crystal. It's a MacGuffin. So first off, what is a MacGuffin? Now it could be literally anything. It could be, like I said, a bomb, crystal, you name it. It is an interchangeable object that ultimately does not affect the audience all that much. It is just a random plot device that is used to push the story forward by focusing on the character's need for it. And by that I mean you could have a group of spies that are trying to all get this briefcase, but we never find out what the briefcase is. All we care about is which side of the spies want it most and why. It doesn't affect us whatsoever. Likewise, you can have a magical crystal that can supposedly solve all the world's issues, and the good guys are trying to get it and the bad guys are trying to destroy it, but we never actually see what this crystal does. All we care about at the end is, yay, the good guys won. Although it wasn't originally coined by him, Alfred Hitchcock used to really make fun of this trope all the time, and he referenced it to no end, which I find hilarious. Now, it is not the same as a plot device. Now, a plot device follows similar rules, but at the end of the day, we are going to see the results and the consequence of the plot device. With the MacGuffin, we never do. It is just the thing that everybody needs and everybody wants. Whereas a plot device is the thing that everybody needs and everybody wants, but we get to see the aftermath of using it or finding it, and it's easy to get the two mixed up. But just because we never see the consequence or the aftermath of the MacGuffin doesn't mean that it's useless throughout the story. For one thing, it can be great to show your characters. We get to see who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, if there's a morally grey area in between. We get to see the lengths that these characters are willing to go to get this thing, and again, that can push them to one end of the scale or the other. It really is all about the journey. When someone is after a MacGuffin, usually we are focused on the journey of finding it or the journey of protecting it, rather than what this thing actually is. It really centres around character-driven stories rather than plot-driven stories, which I'm all for, but there are pros and cons when it comes to using a MacGuffin. It would help if I could actually say the damn word. Some examples of a MacGuffin is the Holy Grail. Everyone is after the Holy Grail, everyone wants the Holy Grail, but do we ever get to see what the Holy Grail does? No. Likewise, this is going to be slightly controversial, but you know, the Infinity Stones. When they are in their own separate movies and they're isolated from each other, they are MacGuffins. We don't get to see the full extent of their power, we don't get to see the full magnitude of what they're designed to be used for. All we care about is that they are powerful, the good guys want it in order to protect the world from its magical power. We never get to see what that magical power is in full and the full consequence of what would happen if they fell into the wrong hands. However, this is changed into an actual plot device when all of the stones are brought together into the Infinity Gauntlet, and then we get to see just how messed up everything can be. But until that point, in their own separate individual movies, they're MacGuffins. If you want to use a person as a MacGuffin, then Ellie from The Last of Us, the first game. She is a MacGuffin, because now there is going to be spoiler territory here, so I am sorry if you haven't seen the first game, but in a world that is completely infected with, they may not call them zombies, but they basically are. It's a zombie apocalypse game. She has a cure. She is the cure. So now it turns into one long party mission where everything is all about protecting her, making sure that nobody else gets her, making sure that she doesn't get hurt in order to deliver her to the right place. And things get very skewy from there, and in the second game she does not become a MacGuffin, she is her own person, and that is, you know, a separate story. But at the end of the day, you can have people as MacGuffins if they are the chosen one, or if they have a cure, if they are the ultimate power, etc. Because we never actually get to see what Ellie can do, so MacGuffin. So are they a bad and lazy trope to use in your writing? Yes and no. You can have different kinds of MacGuffins. You can have the power-up MacGuffin. This is going to be the thing that is going to solve all of your problems. It is going to be the thing that if you use it, you can have a long-lasting or temporary burst of power that is just going to fix everything around you and get a job done sooner rather than later. This could be a literal power-up, like a magical crystal, or it could be some kind of injection from a science experiment to really give you that boost, that kind of thing. You can have the fake out MacGuffin, where this thing that you've been trying to find the entire journey and you finally get your hands on it and it's all going well, just to realise that it has been swapped out with a fake, or it was never a real MacGuffin in the first place, that it was, you know, the journey that was the real MacGuffin, that kind of thing. It again can be done in a variety of different ways on that one, but yeah. The fake out can be good to trick the villain, it can also be good to give the villain the upper hand, but it can also be good just as sequel fodder. And there's also the tactical MacGuffin, where there are genuinely good reasons for wanting to find this thing. For example, a bomb or the cure, that kind of thing. You understand why they want it. It's not just, you know, it's not just a bunch of papers, it's not just a magic potion. It's like, no, okay, we have a time limit for this thing and this thing could actually help a lot of people, therefore we need it. That one tends to make the narrative a bit more solid and give the characters a bit more of a motivation, but yeah, those are 3 MacGuffins that we can use. And they are good to use because they do push the story along, they do give the characters some kind of drive and motivation and gives them a reason to want to go on this journey in the first place. Even though we are not really focused so centrally on the MacGuffin, because we know it's a MacGuffin, we're not going to be able to see the full extent of its power, it is the journey along the way that counts. And with that you get a lot of chance for character development and for a team to grow and to really understand who these people are and why we should be rooting for them to find this thing. Also, it's important to remember that MacGuffins don't have to stay MacGuffins. Like the Infinity Stones, they are MacGuffins in their own individual movies, but you bring them all together, it is one long narrative that is built up to this moment where they all come together, and then we get to see the full extent of its power, we get to see the aftermath, we get to shed so many goddamn tears, oh my god. Likewise, it doesn't have to be objects, it can be a person. That person could, like Ellie, grow into an actual solid character with their own motivations, with their own drive, with their own fears, and just grow from being this thing that you need to protect to being something that can not only protect themselves but can also turn things around and protect you. Likewise, if you go for something more simple like a bomb, that bomb could go off and then we see the impact. It is no longer a MacGuffin because it has not only destroyed itself, but it has also caused some kind of consequence that people need to deal with. And they can be used well. They can be used well. They just need thought. They need so much thought. The cons of using a MacGuffin is that the story can become a little bit stale. We know where it's going to go. We know that this thing is the be-all and end-all of the story, and once they find it, the story's going to end. We know that either the villain's going to get it and things are going to go bad and that's going to be sequel fodder, or we know that the good guys are going to get it and then the story's going to end with this big happy, yeah, we did it kind of thing. And yeah, stale, predictable, kind of boring. You need to really know how to mix things up in order to make a MacGuffin work. And they can be so overused. How many times have we had the magical whatever, the hidden whatever, the chosen one whatever? It's really overdone, and you know, sometimes it is better to use plot devices rather than MacGuffins, but it all depends on the story, I suppose. Thrillers are more likely to use MacGuffins because they want high tension at an easy access, whereas if you're looking for something more magical based, then sometimes there's going to be a lot more world building and you're going to need a plot device to really spread things out. At the end of the day, MacGuffins are not a bad thing. They can really push the story along and they are great for character development. If you're planning on writing a character-based story rather than a plot-based story, then MacGuffins are going to be better because they're not going to be as important, they're not going to be as prominent in the story, and therefore you can focus more on the characters. And I'm a sucker for development and good character dynamics, so you know, I'm all for that. And just add that twist at the end, add that thing where the MacGuffin actually does have some kind of impact, even if it's not a huge impact. Speaking of a huge impact, was that an explosion? They're doing a lot of construction work at the train station down the way, so that's what that is. Everything's fine, don't worry. So yeah, be all and end all. MacGuffins are not necessarily a bad thing, they just tend to fit into certain genres more than others, and sometimes you can find the twist. Maybe you'll be the one that writes the twist. It is completely up to you what that MacGuffin is. If it stays a MacGuffin, if it turns into an actual character, if it turns into a plot device, all up to you. MacGuffins are not bad, they just need to be handled with care. I hope this helped in some way. If you have any advice for me, please let me know. I had a lot of fun with this one, even if I did go on so many tangents, and I'm sorry about that. We all know I ramble at this point. But yes, I will end the video here. So until the next time, I hope you're doing well, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye, my scribblers.